Before we get started, guys, I just want to know real quick. I want this to answer this question that I've long wondered. Who's a good horse?
You are.
This is episode 34 of the Animus podcast. I'm Aftermath. That's Aries. Say hello, Aries.
Hello.
That's McCrackenway, aka Connor. Say hello, Connor. Connor's dead.
Hey guys, it's me, Connor. Hi.
Okay, yeah, moving on. So this week, as we mentioned last week, we've got a bunch of guests, that are all going to talk about and tell us all about what they think about Syndicate, and all of that will be completely spoiler-free. No spoilers. In fact, next week, not this week, next week, will be the completely spoiler episode, spoiler cast, where we'll analyze the entire story. But that's next week, not this week. This week, there will be no spoilers. So, we're currently running a little bit late because of connection issues and things like that, so we're going to hop right into bringing in our first guest. But just before that, I just want to talk about two quick news stories. If Connor's here, we'll maybe get into that. Connor's here. That's good. Cool. He wasn't here a second ago.
Fix it. I did something silly, but it.
We found Connor,
now.
guys. It's all good.
Okay.
I can't stop playing, so and it was being weird with my mic because my mic was off to one side, and the TV was off to another side. And now I put the TV on my desk with all my other stuff, so...
Behind the scenes, everybody. So,
Yeah.
I'm going to jump into this. The first news story this week is Ubisoft...
Wait.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to run through it, because then I'll ask you. Yes, so the title of it is Ubisoft vows to fight to remain independent in wake of unwelcome Vivendi investment. So, from what we've heard, it seems like Ubisoft is currently in the middle of a unwelcome, hostile takeover from this company called Vivendi.
It's done.
As of recording, they currently own 10% of the stock, which is up from 6.6%, which they bought earlier this month.
So, you guys remember when I said Ubisoft stock soared, not sure why? This is why.
Oh.
Yeah. So this was connected to that. It started back then, and then it's only gone up more, so they're acquiring more and more stock. The way that a hostile takeover company works is that if you buy enough stock in a company, you can lobby for positions on the board of directors. And Vivendi wants to acquire a lot of the company, so say some arbitrary number like 40 or 50% is pretty huge, because right now they're at 10 and they're only starting. And then with that much of a stake in the company, they can argue, we have a lot of ownership in this company, we want a say in how it's run, and then they get a lot of their people on the board, and they can control a lot of Ubisoft's decisions that way. Mm-hmm. So that is what a hostile takeover means. They don't go in guns blazing and actually own the company. They just weasel their Templar little fingers into the board of directors, and then they can get control of the company's proceedings that way.
Yeah.
So that's basically the goings-on behind it.
Two internal emails from Yves Guillemot were leaked as well, and he is very scared and very defensive. Now, I wanted to know from you, Aries, just reading this title, it screams, this shit's scary, I don't like this shit. But I'm wondering from you, is this actually scary for me, or is it just scary for Yves Guillemot because if they do control the company, then he's probably out of a job? Should I be scared? Do you think that if this company takes over this other company, then suddenly Assassin's Creed is going to be this wildly different thing?
I don't think so, although there's really no way to know for sure. I think Yves would have a right to be scared because if people are coming into the board of directors, they can strong-arm him out if they want to, which puts him in a difficult position. So he will obviously want to fight to maintain Ubisoft standing as a private, or not a private, but a self-contained, self-owned company instead of having some puppeteering people over top. I don't know how it would really impact Assassin's Creed as a whole. I don't think it would have a drastic change. I feel like they would want to work more internally on how things are run rather than externally. But that, again, is just my speculation because I think they know that Ubisoft has a formula that works for how they make games. That's why they're investing in them. The changes that I think they would make would be more on the back end because that's most of where business is run with those kinds of things. So I don't think it would really make a difference to Assassin's Creed and other franchises that much beyond pricing strategies and how DLC works. But the actual content of the games I don't think would change much of it all.
All right. So what you're saying is that Eve has a right to be scared.
But we don't.
But I have a right to maybe be a little concerned because things will change. but as a consumer and a friend of Ubisoft, it won't affect me too much.
Not really.
Okay, thank you for that. Because, seeing all these massive words, hostile takeover...
Yeah, the Game Informer article got me a little bit riled up, too, and then I asked my dad. He said it's really not that big of a deal.
Okay. And... Connor, did you want to say anything on that before we move on to the second news story?
No, I think Aries, the ex-economics major, is probably more qualified.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so the second news story of the week is that Syndicate's first community event was announced and is currently on. It's on right now. As you listen to this, if you're listening on Sunday, then it's on right now. The first community event, and it gives you 33% more cash for all income activities in the Lambeth Borough until November 2nd.
I like how they're doing it by district. It encourages people to play around in the game.
Yeah, I actually kind of like this because it's not like the exclusive kind of outfits and things of AC4, but because I've already finished the game and I basically own all of London from an economic standpoint, and I have 16,000 pounds coming in every 30 minutes, I don't really need to play this.
Yeah, I'm definitely a ways ahead of the front of the game. I haven't conquered all the boroughs yet, mostly because I actually don't want to yet. But I have all the upgrades and stuff, and my need for money is 0 at the moment. It just accumulates. I have 216,761 pounds right now, and it's not going anywhere. I like the community event.
I'm at about 12,000 pounds.
Yeah.
On the high
I will
end.
say, for some reason, just looking at the icons are this kind of goldy color.
Yeah.
When I see one of those, I'm like, hey, I might go check that out over there.
I like that they've given some kind of visual representation of what's different than just a text message on the side of your pause screen like it was with AC4.
Mm-hmm. I really like the idea. I've always kind of liked the idea of making single player games without giving them necessarily multiplayer functionality, making them a little bit more giving them a little bit more of an interaction with, I don't know, giving them a way to change slightly over time so you can come back and do things, I guess. I mean, for me, it's just this one is timed poorly because, we've been playing the game for more than a week now, and it's just due to my own progress in the game that it's this is sort of useless, but I don't know. It's a cool idea, and I hope to see more done with it. I just hope they give crafting materials more.
Oh, yeah. So, Aries, what do you think of this?
For sure. Like I said, I like it. I think it's a good idea. It helps me... Sorry. A little bit of a cough. It helps me at my point in the game to just get more money, be able to do more stuff. Because we'll talk about this later, but I really like the way money works in AC Syndicate. It's the right amount at the right time as opposed to some of the other games. But, hey, social events makes it fun, gets you to focus on a district and explore a certain part of the city. I like it.
All right. Any other thoughts before we move on and bring in our first guest?
Let's guest it up.
Not on that topic. Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Introduce yourself and tell us where you're up to in Syndicate.
Hey, I'm Turl. I've been on the podcast before, but I'm most known for being a moderator on the subreddit. And I've actually played all the way through Syndicate. I haven't 100%ed it, and I haven't found all of the Helix points, but I played through the whole thing. So.
All right. First question. We have some questions from Twitter that I'll ask throughout this episode to each of the guests. And we have a question here from Talking Sandwich, and he wants to know, how dank is Syndicate?
I thought it was good. I was pleasantly surprised, when I woke up and I saw the review scores the day before. I actually couldn't believe it. But yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it solved pretty much all the problems not all of the problems I had with Unity, but a lot of those issues. And I'd say it's safe to say it's the best one since Brotherhood. I know a lot of people really like Black Flag and all that. I thought it was a great game, but the whole ship combat, that stuff, like it was fine, but it wasn't really what I was looking for in Assassin's Creed. So the title's good, but I like Syndicate for going back to why I like Assassin's Creed and why I think the series is a good series. So
Yeah, I could definitely agree with you on that one. Speaking of ships, how are you liking the Thames?
the Thames is awesome. Okay, like
Right.
that was
Right.
super cool because I didn't really know about it at all. Like I hadn't really seen it in any type of footage or all that, and
It
so
got really quiet. I was very impressed with that.
yeah, and it was really cool because it um it brought parkour to like at a focal point in that part of the, like, that is where the parkour kind of shines to me.
Mhm.
And because what it does is it sets up like a puzzle for the person to solve, and that's why I really liked the parkour, because it always kind of seemed like it was a constant kind of platforming puzzle that you're having to solve, and by having these constantly moving ships going back and forth, and they're timed really well. Like they're not everywhere, but they're timed well enough that you're not having
Yeah,
to wait too long if
definitely.
you've missed it or anything like that. So I thought it was really cool, and it was really fun to move through. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
to the
really
point of it
liked
being a
that.
puzzle, I like that a lot because you have to think quickly, because if you can't piece together where you have to go to get to the next boat, you're going to be dragged halfway up the river and you're not going to be where you want to be. So
Yeah.
definitely I agree with the point of it being like a puzzle. It's so
Yeah,
well
that-
designed.
Yeah, that was like, that's why I really liked it, because it reminded me when I wasn't as familiar with Assassin's Creed, like when you're still honing those parkour skills, it's about like, okay, I need to try and keep moving forward, so I need to look at, okay, I need to move to this rooftop, or I need to go up a level, and those were the types of things that I used to kind of think about a lot in Assassin's Creed, but now it's kind of just come like, I'm like robotic at it, that I've just done it so much that I don't even. But the Thames presented that experience for me again, and I really liked it. So
Yeah, I think the Thames is a good example of one of the things that I really like about Syndicate, which is that it takes like all these major things that you have on the surface and adds little details to it that you're not going to notice immediately, but are, I think, very welcome. For instance, with the Thames specifically, I realized after playing the game for many hours daily that you can hide inside the barges. You can go inside the doors and use it as a hiding spot.
oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah. There are
that's-
lots of little things like that. Like I discovered there's not a tool for distraction in that game. All there is the whistle. But I found if you use a throwing knife in a certain distance from whoever you're trying to distract, it will actually get their attention and make them move. So like, there's lots of little things like that kind of make the entire experience better, even if you don't even notice it at first, or you have to figure it out. So
Yeah, I definitely agree. There's little things in Syndicate which really add to the experience, I think.
right.
About 5 minutes left on this. Anything else you wanted to mention, Tyrell, that stands out to you that you really wanted to say?
I thought the characters were a lot better this time around. Actually,
yes.
I liked a lot of them, and I thought a lot of them were interesting. The story itself, like the actual plot, wasn't that interesting. Like it wasn't. I was
Straightforward.
much more interested in something like AC3 or like Brotherhood. I thought had a really interesting story. This story was fine, but like the character interactions is what was really interesting about it. So the dynamic between Jacob and Evie as they move along, and as the story progresses, is interesting all the way throughout. So I really liked a lot of the characters.
To that point, back in the day when Darby, may he be praised, was working on AC4, he talked about the difference between, I think I mentioned this before on the podcast, a story-centric game and a plot-centric game.
Yeah.
So, for instance, let's take AC2 is a very plot-centric game. There's specific events you go through, and it's all about the things that happen. But with, say, AC4, and also Rogue is very plot-centric, AC Syndicate is very, very story-centric because it's all about the characters. And not so much about specific events that happen, but there are some grand themes, and the main parts of the game, the narrative is about people and how they change and evolve and whatnot. So I'm definitely, even though I haven't finished it, I'm definitely getting that same feeling too, for sure.
Yeah, so and like the historical characters, they had some like weird, like they were kind of eccentric and odd, or maybe they weren't wholly historically accurate, but they were like people that I wanted to like talk to, or and like they just had odd quirks to them. Like I'm trying to think, like Darwin especially, I thought was just like very odd in his demeanor and the way that he spoke. It was just like who is this guy? Like he's like kind of a goofball. And I thought the characters were pretty well done in Syndicate. Yeah.
Thank you for sitting down to talk with us, Tyrell. It was great to talk to you. Where can everyone find you?
Everyone can find me on the subreddit, and you can find me. I have a Twitter at AC_Tyrell. You can see a lot more of my thoughts there. That as I played through the game, sometimes I would have little enraged moments where I was very upset about particular things in the game, but that doesn't mean I didn't like Syndicate. I like Syndicate a lot.
You're also on episode 24 of this podcast, so make sure that all you listeners out there go listen to that right after this.
And way back on the E3 episode.
And way back on the E3 episode. And on the mod episode. You've actually been on here a ton. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Are you guys going to do a spoiler cast anytime soon?
Yep, that's next week.
All right. Well, if you need any more guests, anything like that,
all right,
I would love to talk spoilers.
All right.
And in fact, I will talk about them right now.
No, I'll stop right there. See you later, Tyrell. Guest number 2, could you introduce yourself for us and tell us what sequence you are up to on Syndicate?
Hello, I am Katie. I am the Cliffhangers on Twitter and Reddit, and I am on sequence 5 right now.
Brilliant. So, I just wanted to know what you thought of Syndicate, but before we get to that, I have a question here from Zero Region, and he asks, question, did you have any problems or worries with pre-release gameplay details that were resolved in the final game? I know a very common one was the combat, especially in E3. It seemed very, very fast, and they kind of slowed it down for the final game. And another one for me would probably be Eevee's exclusion from most of the marketing. Does anything stand out to you guys that you were worried about before release?
I think I was worried about it working mostly.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't, like, the series probably would be dead if we had another Unity happen.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
And that didn't happen, so I'm so thankful for that.
Aries and Connor, anything stand out to you?
Connor, you go first. I'm still thinking.
Yeah, I'm also sort of still thinking, but I think I might say that I guess I was a bit concerned about... I mean, I was one of the people trying to, like, defend bits of the game. Like, well, we don't actually know how this works, so don't, like, judge it yet. But I was a little concerned, I guess, about the rope launcher, how it might work with the parkour gameplay. And I'm happy to say that it works well. It fits nicely. It's a lot of fun. Even if sometimes it removes some of the more complex parkour, I guess.
I found mine. It's Jacob. So at first, all the pre-release stuff, we're thinking Jacob, boring, Ezio clone, Arno clone, everybody clone. But, we were all thinking, Eevee's going to be, the best character ever, and, she's so cool. And then seeing it in the game, there's no Jacob without Eevee, there's no Eevee without Jacob. They're such a great unit together. Just some of the interactions in the cutscenes. I won't go into details. Stay tuned next week for that. But I really like how they've done that, and I like the way Jacob acts. His demeanor is great. Kind of a lovable fool at the same time being his charismatic British self. I'm very happy, although I was very worried before, so all is well.
All right. So, Katie, could you let us know, what did you think of Syndicate overall? Does anything stand out to you that you want to talk about?
It is so much fun. When I would play, I hate to bring up Unity every 5 seconds, but when I would play it, I think I tried to play it so much to like kind of seek out fun and depth, but I don't have to do that with Syndicate because everything is fun, and even the side quests have a lot of depth. And the side quests, they're linked to the story, and the story is good, even if it's simple. They know what they're doing, and they're nailing it. They're not trying to be like, how about we do 25 things badly? They just do a couple things, and they do them really well. I'm loving the characters. It has really good writing, and it was Jeffrey O'Hallam the writer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's really, really good. And I'm just loving Jacob, Evie, Henry, the interactions. And I think Syndicate kind of had the hard job of following Unity, but it's also makes their job easier if you think about it, because basically it's like, okay, here's what Unity did. What Unity got wrong, we just have to make it better or get rid of it. And they did that. And the things Unity got right, they improved on that. And I am really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Katie, to your point about the way the side missions are structured, I completely agree. I think Syndicate is a great exercise in world building, where you have the main quest line and the story and the narrative and all that stuff. But then you also have all of these wonderful side characters, and their foibles are all so well drawn out, and they're very well characterized and voice acted. And I think I used the word foibles correctly, although I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, it all is kind of on the side. But when you go through and do all of it, it feeds together so well, and it ties everything into this world of just Victorian London is so believable and immersive. And I definitely agree with the way you assessed it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Paris, I prefer it as a city. I think it's more beautiful. London feels a bit more alive and connected to the story because of that. Because the side quests in Unity, they're just kind of okay, here's some historical things that happened. Arno will occasionally say 5 words, but usually not. Mm-hmm. So, and I did what are they called? Bounty hunt that you do for Aberdeen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting any dialogue in that, but when you kidnap them, there's this guy, and they had a whole conversation, and I was like, "Wow, this is so cool!" After Arno would occasionally say, "Huh, that's odd," or something. So,
yeah, I would recommend listening closely to some of those, because there's a few that I thought there's at least one that I thought was quite funny. Again, no spoilers of any kind, but I'll just leave it there, I guess.
Yeah. One thing I really like are the collectibles. The collectibles feel like they mean something. It's not we still have the chests and things like that, and they've kind of designed the map so it doesn't quite overwhelm you as much as Unity's did. So that you only see more detail when you zoom in, which is by default.
I think there are technically more chests, but they're a lot more.
They don't all show up.
They were in Unity, yeah, and they're not all. They don't all force you to do a lockpicking minigame either. In fact, there are no lockpicking minigames in the entire game.
Thank God. I like the way they do the maps. It gets back to AC2, which works
it's
very
sort
well.
of. I think of the chests. It's kind of similar to AC3 to Black Flag, how they did the chests. There are some
Kicking
locked
them
chests
open?
in this, but you just it's the same thing. Like AC3, you did the bend down animation. You had to do the whole unlocking the chests. In Unity, you had to do the timing minigame. And then for AC3 and Black Flag, you did the kick of the chest just opened. You do the same thing in Syndicate.
I think in AC3, there were a couple locked chests.
AC3 had a minigame to it.
I think it was the best minigame, but it's you just had to match find where it was with the two.
It was the most realistic
sticks,
minigame.
Find it, and then you just.
It was vaguely Skyrim-y.
But it was really finicky though.
It could be. I think after you play it a bunch and get used to it, it's okay. But it's not.
Like,
I don't know.
I just
Like, I
legitimately
think it's
it
okay
was a
because there's not
bug.
that many chests, but
Yeah. Yeah, but like, sometimes I'd be like tapping R2 to break the lock, and then it just like, I get to the end and then suddenly it stops. And I could never figure out how it was supposed to work. Like, I tried it in many different ways. I think it's just like buggy, is what I think, from
I
how
never
often I use
felt
it.
it was buggy. I just felt like it could make you contort your hands into these weird positions because you'd be holding both
You
sticks
have
in
to like
different
go up
directions.
and
Yeah.
down.
The famed
Yeah,
Assassin's Claw while running an AC2.
Yeah. So that was, but I liked the realism of it more than I liked Unity's, for sure.
Yeah. One thing I noticed about Syndicate's map is that the chests are square shaped on the map, not rectangular. I don't know if that helps, like, not have as many like chests show up on the map, or
Yeah,
like,
I think so. There's the icons are smaller for one thing.
Yeah.
If you zoom out on just the main map enough, then all collectibles just disappear as
Yeah.
well.
Which is very
Um,
nice.
Yeah. So you're really only seeing collectibles if you're zoomed in to look for them. Plus, I think
Unity's
it does a
map-
better job of like.
it was like glitter puke all over.
Yeah.
even when
yeah,
it
Yeah,
there's
Unity
the
was a
end
mess
game.
because
chests.
although last week I was slightly complaining about how all these collectible icons are so small and you can't tell them apart. Well, after spending more than 20 minutes with the game, you can. But also, it's nice because it doesn't get in the way of anything else, and the map is spread out enough that since you only see the collectibles when you're zoomed in, they don't overlap like they did in Unity, which was a mess.
I'm so thankful for that.
A circular shape and.
Yeah. All right. Anything else to say, Katie?
I am really loving the music in this.
Oh yes.
Even though I have to hunt down the murder ballads and some of the Dido and Aeneas stuff,
I
like,
only found one so far.
it's not so silent as like Free Roam used to be without music in some of the games.
I just don't like
And-
that I can only hear like the singing on the rooftops. I just want to hear it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to hear it more, but what I hear, it's really good, and I'm just trying to figure out how to like maybe send a message on Twitter to Austin Wintory. Like, I don't know how I can quite capture in 140 characters how much I loved it, though.
I just sent
Twitlonger.com.
a bunch of tweets.
Yeah.
Like I
So-
think I sent like every time I discover something new that's cool about the music, I think I shoot him a tweet.
Yeah. Oh, and I just wanted to say modern day, I was expecting horrible repeat of Unity. I'm not going to say anything specific, but I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would.
I'm gonna say something. It's not too specific, but I think on the surface, the modern day is it on the surface. The modern day seems like
Tread
a
carefully.
marginal step over Unity. Like it seems better, but not that great. And I think this ties back into the collectibles, because you actually have to dig in to those helix glitches specifically. There's a lot of modern day story tied to those,
Yeah.
which is honestly fascinating.
Connor, I'm going to stop right here.
Okay.
I
I would just say like
Yeah. Thank you very much for coming on here and talking with us, Katie. Where can everyone
All right.
find you?
You can find me on Twitter. I'll probably be posting pictures of my dog dressed up today.
Amazing
I
dog.
am at the Cliffhangers, and I usually am on Reddit more, but I think while I'm just finishing up the game, I'm kind of not on there as much.
yeah.
And I'm on the UB forums as Crossed Eagle, and I stream as Crossed Eagle 753. So,
All right.
yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Have a good Halloween and weekend. See ya.
Thank you very much. See ya.
Bye.
Guest number 3, could you introduce yourself for us and then tell us what sequence you're up to on Syndicate?
Hi, I am McHeisenbergler on Reddit and Twitter. I am part of the Marathon team and I also work on The Ones Who Came Before, and you might have seen me on the subreddit. And I just got back a couple hours ago from finishing the main story, so I'm done with Syndicate.
Nice. So, we have a question here from Kawaii Wizard on Twitter. And he wants to know, do you think the great reception of Evie and Jacob has placed pressure on Ubisoft to include dual protagonists in future games?
I'm not really sure, but I do think that with the love that Evie got, that Ubisoft might have more pressure to have a game solely focused on a female protagonist. I'm not really sure if it's much pressure to have dual protagonists in an open world, but I do think that this definitely showed Ubisoft that we definitely want more female protagonists like Evie.
Yeah. What do you guys think, Aries and Connor?
Fully agreed.
I definitely think it puts more pressure on them to do female characters, maybe just a wider variety of characters generally.
Or less white males.
Yeah, exactly. One thing I like, even having not finished the story of Syndicate yet, I kind of wish that they would focus on Evie and Jacob for a while. Honestly, I think they're very interesting, but I would wonder if you think that characters being received as well as Evie and Jacob would make a difference as to whether those characters are included in the future as playable characters, or whether they're so set on we're just gonna go everywhere, do everything, rather than focus on a continuous historical story.
I mean, with the love that both protagonists got in this game, like some people are saying that they're the best at Ezio. Some people are even saying that they're better than Ezio. I think that like a lot of fans do want them to return. I personally really want them to have another game, but I think I'm not sure exactly. But for example, in AC3, if Connor had been like a fan favorite, I think he would have made a return. But I think that the feedback definitely gives us like more like choice in terms of whether or not characters return as protagonists.
I definitely do not think we're going to see dual protagonists again, especially not in the near future, and I definitely do not think that fan reception for characters means we'll get them as protagonists again. Maybe they'll focus on some transmedia on them, but Ubisoft is definitely moving on with their one protagonist a game. So.
I think Ubisoft has a pretty good handle on when people are going to, or how people are going to respond to a character, with, I would say, the exception of Connor and Arno, because they knew halfway through making 2 that Ezio is a special character. So they kind of halted, they put the brakes on AC3, and then they fleshed out a story for 2 more games. So I think that maybe midway through Syndicate, they thought, we have something really special here with Jacob and Evie, and we can do more with this. So I don't think that necessarily fan reception after the fact has a big difference, because the game's already in development now. But I think that there is, a fair chance that midway through they realized that they had something that would work and that people would connect with. So I don't think it's out of the question.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Well, Jacob and Evie are by far the characters that I want to return the most, more than like I wanted Edward to return, for example.
Well, let's just say...
I think that... Yeah. Well, I think this is something we can discuss further later as well. So.
Yeah, let's just say they won't be the protagonists of the next Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, definitely.
Cut that out, Aftermath. Cut that out. Cut that out. No, go back and edit that out.
Okay. It's not...
Can be spoilers.
That's not spoilers, Aries.
It's dangerous.
It's not.
Are you recording right now?
Yes, I'm still recording.
Yes? Okay, just because there was, I don't know.
That wasn't a spoiler. Oh god.
I think there's a database entry that is a spoiler for their eventual fate that you can read before the end of the game.
I was always interested what the behind the scenes were for the episodes, like how much was cut and like how many mistakes you guys made.
Usually not a lot.
Okay.
This is all going in the episode, so you could just continue talking about this stuff.
Speaking of the database, one thing that I really liked is the way that AC4 and AC3 handle database entries, where it would update as you played. So I haven't actually read the database entry in question about Jacob and Evie, which apparently spoils their fates.
It's not their entry. It's a different entry.
Okay, well, I'm not reading anything then. But I like how
you'll probably read
you could scroll down, then you get 3 little stars, then it would continue based on where you were in the story. I like that a lot because like it followed the game as they went on more. So
I'd suggest not going into the progress tracker if you haven't finished the game because there is a hulking massive good old spoiler in there.
Spoilers
I've been
abound.
around a bunch. I haven't I think my progress tracker is there's currently no notifications left in my progress tracker, and I don't feel like I've been spoiled.
Nice. Yeah. So, McH, anything else you
Yeah.
wanted to talk about for Syndicate? What are your some thoughts on Syndicate in general?
So far, I really love the game. Most importantly, what I really like is that this game is like really fun and really playful, and it's just a good time just to play it and be in London. And that was not the case for me with Unity, but that was definitely the case with Black Flag. And I think this might be the most fun to play after Black Flag, because Black Flag was just a blast. But for Syndicate, there's not one thing that you can just say like this is why it's so good. A lot of things are done right. The story, the stealth, the gameplay, like a lot of good things come together really well. The characters are great, and so far I'm loving it. I'm on like 85% sync, and this is a game that I've been wanting to full sync the most because last year Unity was pretty much a chore for me to complete just because like I didn't have fun with it after the first couple sequences. But Syndicate, I'm loving it so far. Probably my second favorite or my third favorite in the series.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with you. I'm actually just collecting some collectibles right now, and even just the inclusion of there being like different burrows, which are like perfectly lined out, definitely makes getting the collectibles a bit funner. So you can just be like, I'll collect all of them in one burrow today, and then next day, and just it's a very, very small detail, which I think adds a lot to the more mindless aspects of the game. And like with Syndicate, with Unity, when I was collecting the collectibles, it definitely felt like more of a chore. But like even the inclusion of the new movement mechanics in Syndicate definitely make it more fun to just get around the city. Using the rope launcher to get from building to building, and using the carriages to get across the entire borough, or the trains, or the boats, it definitely adds a lot just being in the city, I think. And you said that, like, Syndicate's just funner to be in than Unity, like AC4's was. Like, I played AC4 for hours and hours, even after I completed, just running around killing Spaniards as I went. And I'm just having a ton of fun just moving around London right now.
Please
Yeah.
repeat.
Oh.
But anyway, I was going to add real quick that I totally agree about the movement. I think much more so than Unity, parkour up, parkour down actually matters in this game. So there are certain places where, like, I try to do something and I press the wrong button, like Jacob won't jump off unless I have parkour down, because otherwise he'll just shoot me to my death. So you don't ever fling off a building to your death in this game compared
because
to
up
other
until
ones.
now it was press A while holding the trigger and you'll jump. But now it's just strictly free run up and free run down. So if you want to
Exactly.
get to a lower place, you can't just press A and just jump there. You have to use free run down. And one thing I wanted to mention about the collectibles. First of all, with the new movement, the helix glitches are really fun to get, just because you have to find a way to start from a point on a building and where you have to shoot your rope launcher to get a particular glitch. And the Secrets of London are probably my favorite collectibles ever, because last year we had the Nostradamus Enigmas, and I sucked at those, and I hated them. But this year, not only do you have these riddles that you probably will not complete, like, you won't get the collectibles just because of the riddles, but there are pictures, where the Secrets of London are. And you can look at the picture, you can look at the landmarks that are in the picture, and you can kind of analyze and see where that would be on the map. And with the addition of the 3D map, it's so fun to just like look at the map and just search for it. And I've only used Google like twice or 3 times. The rest has just been for fun, just waiting for that music to play. It's really fun to get those.
I think that collectible does a really good job of making, like, just because of the pictures, it makes you feel like you could learn the city really well. Whereas, like, I don't know, I feel like you play any game enough, then you get a really good feel for where you are on the map at any given time. and just these collectibles where it's like, here's a view, find where this view is, and I think that's a really interesting way to get you to learn the city.
Yeah, I was just completing like all the Secrets of London today after I wrapped up the game, and there are like a couple Secrets of London where there's like Westminster Abbey and there's Big Ben in the background as well as the train station, and then you look for those in the borough where it's specified, and then you kind of triangulate the exact location of the music box, and that is like, it makes me feel smart for once, which was not something that the Enigmas did last year because I sucked at those and I had to look up every single one of them. And this year, it's just been a blast to get those. I just completed them today.
Anything else you want to say, McCage?
I'm just going to say like one negative thing, which I just have to say. The customization I thought would have been better. Just only a couple of outfits. Even not all the legacy outfits are there for Jacob, which was kind of a bummer for me, but it's definitely not something that ruins my experience at all. The outfits alone are pretty good, but I just would have liked more outfits, and I do not like that the outdoorsman outfit and the some of the outfits that you get from extra content are the best ones. I just want to see more variety in that. Other than that, it's a great game. Love it.
All right.
Well, the Nighthawk outfit has the same stat as Eevee's Master Assassin outfit. I don't know. Maybe I'll look into it more, but I feel like they're not explicitly better, but we'll see.
All right. So where can everyone find you, McCage?
I'm on Reddit and on Twitter as McKaisenburglar. That's pretty much it.
All right. Thanks for coming in and sitting down with us to talk about Syndicate. It's been
thanks for having me.
It's a ton of fun to have you on.
Yep.
See you guys later. See you later.
Later.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Guest number 4. Could you introduce yourself for us, please, and tell us what sequence of Syndicate you're on?
Hi, I'm Putrid Moldy Man. I'm on Sequence 4. I haven't played any of the memories in Sequence 4. I haven't been able to play the story as much as I'd liked. I've done a lot of the open world stuff. I've liked it a lot.
All right. So, what did you think about Syndicate? You just said you liked the game quite a bit. You liked the open world especially. How are you enjoying the gang mechanics? We haven't talked about that yet.
Oh, the game mechanics? I liked it a lot. Like, when I first heard about it, I thought, oh, this reminds me of Saints Row.
Right.
But having played it, it feels like it stands more on its own. It kind of reminds me of the bodyguard ability of the Assassin's Recruits in AC3, but
In 3.
better, because with the whole bodyguard thing, they defended you, and you can send them to attack if you wanted to, but in Syndicate, they just stay with you. They don't run away after stabbing a guy. I feel like I'm impressed with the whole game mechanics, more than I thought I would be.
Yeah, I definitely like those recruit mechanics. They're really cool. Just being able to pick up people as you're going along, and later on when you get more of the gang upgrades, you can call in the cart just full of guys, which I really like to use quite a bit, especially when I'm about to like assault something.
The cavalry.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten that one yet. I'm mostly just doing volley fire. I didn't use gangs a lot for the first couple sequences, but after starting sequence 5, I started just going around and picking up a bunch of random gang members. And then if I ever saw a blighter on the street, I just have them open fire on him. It was great.
Yeah, I like that. Also, in the gang upgrades, you can like add brutes to your gang and things like that.
Yep.
And enforcers.
Yeah.
And then,
I
like,
like that the gang has its own
sabotaging
upgrade
the-
tree.
I like
Right.
the variety, and like they all seem like things. It's like, oh yeah, this is something that, like as a gang became more powerful, they could start doing,
Yeah.
like, bribing the police.
The second one in
Getting
that
into
is
black
the
market.
the notoriety
Yeah, the
one. I
notoriety.
like that it says the name Fry inspires fear. People will not fuck with you. I really liked how they handled that.
That's not
It's
what
just
it
like,
actually
oh,
says.
put on a
Disclaimer.
cape and no, it just says the name Fry inspires fear. Blighters will not engage you in open combat in the
Yeah.
street or something like that. But the whole like the name thing I thought was great.
Yeah. I like how you could, like, sabotage the blighters. Like, I haven't gotten any of those
That was cool.
upgrades yet, but I like the idea of it.
Yeah, I really like that aspect too. I really like the gang upgrade system. and the gang as a whole. How do you like the as an extension from it? How do you like taking over the city from the Blighters? Those kind of activities, the Templar hunts, bounty hunts, things like that. How are you liking those?
I really like them overall. Like when Syndicate was first announced, I thought those are going to be the only side missions. I didn't know how to feel about that, but it's not. But as activities, I really like them. I was surprised to find out that they have optional objectives. But
Yeah, they all do.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I was a bit worried that they were just going to be like a copy and paste of Brotherhood.
yeah, but I like that there's more variety than just go to a fort and take over it.
Yeah, and they kind of have the associates tied into them, so like there's more loyalty for the associates whenever you do something for them in that district.
I will say I wouldn't mind lighting fire to a few towers, but
That'd be fun.
that would probably show up in the history books.
Yeah. I like how if you take over enough of a borough, the gang leader of that borough might confront you before the gang war starts, and how you can kill them if they don't run out of your sight.
Yeah.
You can kill them.
Can make that gang war that much bit easier.
Right.
Yeah, I do like, cool, though, when you get into a gang war, the gang leaders, at least the few of them that I've actually fought in a gang war, have like a unique quality to them. I guess I won't spoil it a bit too much, but they start using tools that nobody else, no other enemies have. Yeah, which like makes me feel like I like the fact that you can run them down halfway through and kill them, but I also want to see what all of them do. And actually, at one point, I was trying to do that with a gang leader. It was the midway fight, and they stuck around, and my rooks killed them. So that was kind of unintentional, but whatever.
Yeah. Anything else that directly stand out to you, Putrid?
I like how it feels a lot more dynamic. It kind of reminds me of AC4, how dynamic that could have been, but kind of extended in a way. I really felt that when I was on my train and I was passing by the river, and I just jumped down from my train into the river and started stealing cargo from blighter ships.
Yeah, I think this is sort of this is maybe it's related, but I remember saying many podcasts ago just that the fact that there are moving parts in this world will make it feel a lot more alive. Like it feels like, and it especially feels this way with Unity. Like carriages exist in Unity, but they're all like broken down. So it's like the entire world of Paris is like a still life where people just happen to be. And Syndicate really feels like there's constantly stuff going on. People are, carriaging to work. They're taking the train. You can pass under a bridge, see the train go above you. You can stroll down to the river. There's boats going by. You can just hop over, and there's always some gang business to interrupt. And it's just like every moment there's something going on.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be hard to top Paris, but I think they really did a good job at doing that.
Two things on the theme of train stations. Yesterday, I was playing through. I don't know what district it was in. Maybe City of London. But I was coming out of the Thames, and I saw this ginormous train station and realized that in Syndicate, train stations are the new churches. So in all the other AC games, like the big buildings were almost exclusively churches and cathedrals and stuff. And in Syndicate, the biggest buildings on the map are the train stations and St. Paul's Cathedral, but that's one exception. And it's kind of interesting to see, I guess this is a longer conversation about historical trends and whatnot, but just the biggest buildings are these ginormous symbols of modernization and transportation and movement and power over the world. I can go faster than any human ever has the right to because giant metal horses. But the second thing was I just wanted to mention Putrid, you talked about the side content. What do you think about the way the historical characters have been integrated into the side missions? So instead of really playing they play a somewhat noticeable. I mean, they're there in the main story, but that's about it. They're mostly relegated, not relegated, but all the stuff they do pretty much is in the side content. What do you think about the way that they've been handled in side missions?
I think from the ones I've played, particularly Dickens, that's the one I've played most with. I think they've done a really good job at integrating them, and they feel more real outside of the main story because usually you just see them in cutscenes, but with the side missions, it feels a lot more real, I'll say again.
Yeah, like Dickens is doing his Ghost Club stuff, and Darwin is doing lots of naturalist things, and they're all, yeah, you make a good point.
I tell you what, the Darwin-Dickens conspiracy is the worst piece of crap I've ever played.
What are they?
I've not even seen them.
2, maybe 3 missions that have nothing to do with anything. There's not even a conspiracy involved.
Well,
oh my god.
Well, I haven't played them because
they're just the most frustrating missions in the entire game.
Do they only show up after you've beaten the Darwin and Dickens side missions?
Nah, it's like sequence 6 or something they come in.
Okay.
And that doesn't have anything to do with the story either. It's just randomly arbitrarily chosen. Like the first one, I won't go to details in case anyone, for whatever reason, thinks this might be a spoiler, but like the first one's just a stupid fucking fetch quest where you get something that's supposed to be mysterious and it doesn't even explain it. It's not even cool or mysterious or anything. And like, they did one of those things where the timer starts counting down and there's still a cinematic playing. I'm just like, let me go play this right now. And then the second one, which is the only part where there's any kind of story, you have to go pick up this guy and he's a total dick mouth, and basically that's the entire thing.
Sounds like a chemical revolution to me.
It's worse. They promised a lot with the Darwin-Dickens conspiracy, and all the cinematics in the Darwin-Dickens conspiracy trailer are from the main game.
Yeah.
Really?
That's something I noticed, like,
oh my God.
When I was playing. Yeah. I don't know. Aries and I have both not seen them in our games, so I don't know what's happening there. I guess it's not a huge loss. On a similar subject, though, those Dreadful Crimes, I mean, PS4
fantastic.
They're awesome.
So good. I was playing one yesterday, or maybe the day before, and my roommate was like, holy shit, this is great. Because they do the white text on the screen just like it's out of Sherlock, and it works perfectly.
Yeah, and there's some really interesting ones. You'll have quests to do with trajectory or time, and the way they play in more than just like go talk to these people and learn some evidence. It's like look at physical evidence and like examine the scene for yourself for like the path the guy walked that day or something like that. It's really and a lot of it doesn't come down to like who has motivation and means. Sometimes it comes down to just like of these scenarios that you're envisioning, which one actually happened.
Yeah, when I first heard about the Dreadful Crimes, I thought they were just going to be 10 more Unity-like murder mysteries, but it really kind of blew my mind how much effort is put into this.
Yeah, it's a massive shame that they were a PS4 exclusive.
Yeah, sorry, Xbox One.
It's a good thing they're only timed exclusive though.
I hope they're free when they're released on Xbox and PC.
They should be, I would think, because it was free for PS4 people.
But like they've sold that stuff before though, like with the pre-order stuff, you could say the same thing. It was free if you pre-ordered it, and then they sold it separately.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
Did the AC3 Benedict Arnold missions ever come to Xbox?
No.
Nope.
This is the first time that the PS4 exclusive stuff's going to come to Xbox.
Those are, I don't know. The only other, I think these are by far the best, but the only other ones I'd say are really worth it, and I feel like I'm sad the Xbox players didn't get to play are the Copernicus conspiracy.
Copernicus, yeah.
those were good because it was a sequence with an actual like fleshed out story and an actual fleshed out character. Whereas Benedict Arnold was like, it felt kind of tacked together, just like whatever.
Yeah, I really like the different crimes. You feel really like a detective even more than Unity's ones, and like by the end of Unity's ones, I was just kind of bored, and it's just like I just accuse everyone until I got it right. But for this one, you have to find you have to find like every piece of evidence, and then you can start accusing people, which I really like. Especially if you want to like read all the stuff, and I've been reading everything and thinking about it for a while before I make my decision. Like, who had the motivation to do this and the means? I haven't finished all of them just yet because there's actually a surprising amount of them. I thought there was going to be maybe 3 or 4, but there's like...
I think we'll talk more about this on the spoiler cast, but there's some really interesting ones where the motive and the means are like the least of your worries.
Yeah. So, thank you for coming on and joining us, Putrid. Where can everyone find you?
Well, I'm on Reddit and Twitter as Putrid Man, one word. That's about it.
All right. Thanks for coming on and joining us, Putrid. We'll have
Good to talk to you again, Putrid.
Some of the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, good to see you, buddy.
All right. See you later.
He's an OG guest.
See ya.
All right. Guest number 5. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us what sequence of Syndicate you're on?
Hi, I'm Assassin_M from the official Ubisoft forums, and I am on sequence 8.
Nice. So, we have a question here from Cole96, and he wants to know, which Syndicate promotional stunt did you find the strangest? I would say probably the website, the search engine website, was slightly odd. Anything
It was cool though.
Oh yeah, it was. The search engine was cool. The search engine was cool until it started blocking out entire nations, and then made it this way to get content.
Although, to be fair, a lot of that content is just available through what is now the Ubisoft Club, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, we could talk about Ubisoft Club real quick.
Let's not.
I like it.
I don't.
It's pretty much it's the exact same thing as Uplay.
I don't.
With a new name so people don't hate it for DRM as much.
Just now that it works on consoles properly, instead of using like you're turning your controller into a mouse, now you actually have like control over it. I like it, even though that it would achieve the same thing as just them making Uplay functional on consoles.
I don't think it merits a proper discussion.
What did you think about Syndicate?
So far, there are things, well, yeah, obviously, because no game is perfect, there are things that I like and things that I don't like, and some things changed from when I played it at E3. Some were good changes, some were changes that I just want to take a time machine and go back to E3 and tell them not to do the things that they did.
What were some examples of that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the most glaring example is the parkour. At E3, the only change they did is that they removed some of the floaty animations from Unity, where Arno would just, it didn't even look like he was jumping, he was just gliding across.
Flying across entire rooftops.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
And they removed that animation, and they replaced it with a lot heavier animations for Jacob, so I thought that was a great addition. But then, in the final game, the animations are still there, like the heavier animations, but now, for some reason, it's a lot more control. Like, in Unity, if you press the legs button, which is the X on the PlayStation 4 and I think A on the Xbox, if you press that, you don't jump. You can only jump to, like, very small distances, where you can get up a chimney, and you can't, if you press the legs button, you won't jump to the one in front of it. No, you'll jump below. So you get up a chimney and you go down. You get up a chimney and you go down. But in Unity, you could just jump all over the chimneys, and I can't help but feel that this is like their way of catering to more people who are just not experienced. Because one Wolfie Z from the Reddit, he showed me a video where they ask people about their experience in Syndicate, and one of the guys said that he didn't like the parkour too much, that it felt a little clunky. So the guy asked him, "So do you want to give up more control and have it a bit more automated?" And the guy said yes. And I'm just like, well, okay, I gotta find that guy and do something to him, because now the game is just basically, the parkour is very sticky. It's not as free as Unity, and this seems like their philosophy in a lot of things, because in a sense, whatever is not successful, they just endeavor to look at what's not successful and say, let's make the opposite of all of that. Like with Assassin's, it wasn't really that successful.
We appear to be having some connection issues.
I'll just jump on that thought again with the
Jacob not jumping off of things.
No, not that. It was the one about people giving their feedback. There was one guy who said it'd be really cool to be able to use the rope launcher while in motion, like on the top of a carriage. And the developer was like, "Yeah, that's a good idea. You can't do that in the final game," which is kind of annoying. But oh well.
I will say, like, parkour is a lot stricter than in Unity. Like he was saying. I think in some situations that's good, and in other situations it's not as good. Like, he's right, you can't manually make them jump, but at the same time, again, you said you won't go jumping off to your death by accident, and you're never gonna... like, I think they assigned a lot more functionality to just holding the right stick that used to be assigned to right stick and X, but they also changed some things, like you can no longer mantle like small ledges just holding the right trigger. You have to use the right trigger and X to get over small ledges. I don't know. I don't know. I think that is, again, something that I will determine after multiple playthroughs. Right now, I'm mixed about it, I guess.
Yeah, I preferred being able to jump to my death if I wanted to. You know, there are several points in the game where I'm trying to jump onto a ledge which I know I can survive, and yet the game won't let me do it. And it feels less like they're trying to make it so that you don't jump to your death, and it makes it more feel like they're trying to restrict you.
I think in some cases it feels more like they're purposefully, like, because in Unity it was very easy, even for people who were pretty good at the parkour, like I guess I'll include myself among them, that like you can be really good at the parkour, like 90% of the time it'll do exactly what you want to, but that 10% was always like this feeling of slight uncertainty that it would, and sometimes that was justified because you'd suddenly like jump sideways like across the street when you're just trying to go forward, and I think they tried mostly to alleviate that kind of thing, but I guess it comes at the cost of, again, like less control over more impressive feats of parkour, like jumping long distances.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
I would say that I think what I like about the way Syndicate's parkour is structured is that although it may seem initially that there's less freedom to it, like for instance, what bugged me a lot is when McCrackenway and I were first playing Syndicate that fateful Friday 1 week and a day ago, I was trying to jump off of the train. I'm like, damn it, train, let me jump off of you. I want to, throw myself off of this bridge and get down to the ground. And I kept on trying to hold, R2 and X, and it wasn't working because there's nowhere to go up. But if you hold R2 and circle, you'll parkour down. So it's restrictive at first if you play it the way you played Unity using the same button combinations. But Syndicate really hammers on the whole parkour up, parkour down thing. So for me, when I use parkour up, parkour down the way that Syndicate wants me to, I feel like I'm able to do exactly what I want to do. It's a matter of using the right buttons.
I'm not talking about parkour up, parkour down at all. I'm talking about jumping across places, jumping down to places, and things like that.
It's a little bit that.
Using the wall eject button. It often doesn't let you do that unless it knows for certain that there's a ledge within 3 feet of you.
I haven't really had trouble with that, so I guess I can't comment.
There is a certain point in the story where it stands out a lot, but that would be a spoiler.
One thing, I feel like I love having all these movable vehicles, but I do wish that, because especially on land, because land is the vehicles you can drive, so coming off train, like the high-speed vehicles like trains and carriages, you can only parkour down off of them onto the ground, and I do wish you could, like, say, leap from the train to a nearby wall, or like start a parkour route like along the side of a building from the top of a carriage, but you always have to go down to the ground unless the carriage is not moving, and that I don't like that much, but I don't know, it's not like I'm constantly trying to do it. Once you get used to it, it's acceptable, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's something they'll probably have fixed for the next game anyway, because that's the kind of thing they should be able to hammer out in a year.
I mean, honestly, like, I tend to be either, like, it's only really a thing I feel strongly about on the train. On the carriage, it's like, you're either using the carriage to get somewhere, or you're parkouring to get somewhere, so I don't feel like that overlaps that much, but, yeah. But, yeah,
Em, are you there?
I agree.
All right. Thank you for coming on and joining us, Em. Where can everyone find you again?
Everybody can find me on the Ubisoft forums, the Reddit, and I have my own blog where I'll probably put my Assassin's Creed Syndicate review, and I'm currently doing a series where I just roam all around London as a fictional in-game character. Well, all the in-game characters, most of them are fictional, but like it's it's a character that I made, and I have thoughts and stuff like that about video games and game design stuff. It's shabanm.wordpress.com, and you can find me on Twitter at assassins_m.
All right. Thanks for coming on and joining us, Em. It was great to talk to you.
You're welcome, guys. It was great talking to you too.
All right. Talk to you later.
Later.
See ya. Guest number 6. Could you please introduce yourself and let us know what sequence of Syndicate you're up to?
I'm Denali, and I'm at Sequence 9. I'm playing around, doing Road Rage with Evie Fry.
Nice.
So that's always interesting, instead of Jacob.
Nice stuff. That's good stuff. So you've finished the game?
Correct.
Nice. You've 100%ed it, even.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Jeez. Like, I'm at 84%, and I've been playing for the last week.
Yeah, I just have to do like a couple more lawful hijacks, and I will probably get the master achievement where I master 100% achievement.
Oh, yeah. How do you feel about...
Well done.
Is there a good way that you have found to hijack police vehicles?
Yeah, basically, you get the bribery, and they let you just jump off. So you're right there holding a knife on top of them. They're like, "Oh, whatever. I don't care." You
Cool knife, bro.
And then you hijack them. Bam.
Because I don't know. I have that perk, and whenever I try to hijack them, they always go notorious as soon as I hit the button, and one of them throws me off.
Yeah.
And then I have to wait for them to slow down and then get the other one.
Yeah, no, you just kill one, headshot them, and then you just hijack the other. So you don't kill both of them. You just kill one and hijack the other one, and it's easy. And then you just run, and then there you go, and you can just jump off. And I'm doing in conjunction with the Death by Rooks, so I get a gang of rooks behind me, follow me in a carriage. I hijack that, and then I just run after it, and they kill everybody. So they'll also get your Death by Rooks. So
Cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So, we don't have any more questions left, but do you have anything that stands out to you want to mention about Syndicate?
Let me see. For Syndicate, it's a better focused game that I can say about previous games where it was kind of, you're not sure what you're going to do. Like Black Flags, they were, because a lot of people are saying, hey, this is like Black Flags. Black Flag was like an epilogue for the Desmond's story, just to finish it up, and then transition over here. And Unity, like they said, I always felt, and I keep writing each time they mention about Unity, it was a transitional engine. And Ubisoft that I've seen is they're always do worse at transitional engines, which is Assassin's Creed 1, Assassin's Creed 3, and then Unity. If you see those 3 games, they're always in transition, because Assassin's Creed was actually a transition from Persian, Persia, and then Assassin's Creed 3 is from the Ezio's and that engine to their new engine. I forgot, Anvil.
Next.
Yeah, Anvil Next, and then Unity was from Anvil Next to this new
Anvil
engine.
Next again.
Again.
Anvil Cube.
So I always feel like if they're ever going to do a transitional engine game, that they should give it at least 1 year more to do the polishing and tidying up to that.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely been a long established pattern of odd numbers bad, even numbers good, in very broad strokes. You know, like you said, 1, 3, Unity were good ideas that were rough around the edges, and then of course 2, 4, and Syndicate are highly polished, excellently done. Dan and Matt Network, good friends of ours, did a great video a week or so ago on that, and also happy birthday, Matt, a couple days late as we're recording this. But still, always fun to talk to him. But anyway, point is, definitely agree with your point about transitional engines being the tricky ones, because it's when they have all these ideas that they're bringing in, and let's just shove everything in, see what sticks, and we'll fix it in the next game, which is a dangerous philosophy, but it produces games like Syndicate, at least, which is one positive aspect of it.
Yeah, and so for that portion, I think I like the style. I mean, the optional achievement that you can do, the optional objectives. I think one thing I wish that they brought back was the reasoning about it, because in Brotherhood, you did the optional objective to fully synchronize to unlock additional memory. And it would have been cool in this game, because you had 2 twins, that you could unlock more memories from them if you did the optional objectives. So I thought that was something. I mean, I don't know if from your guys' perspective, if the optional objectives were easier this time around, or if they were about the same. Because I was like, man, I think, because I've been playing all these Assassin's Creed games from Assassin's Creed 1 to now, that the optional objective has become so, easy for me to do. It didn't feel like as challenging as before. So I don't know if your guys' takes on it about the optional objectives for this time around.
2 things. One, I found them the same-ish difficulty. Because, like you said, we've been playing these games for a long time. But also, it wasn't so much, oh, don't be detected, don't do this, don't do that. It was, instead of prohibiting you from doing certain things, it was encouraging you to do other things. So, for instance, hijack carriage and whatever mission you're playing. It's more of positive, telling you to do more things, as opposed to telling you not to do other things. But on your point about the full sync justification, one thing that just popped into my mind is, and this is serious nitpicking, but with the details of having Jacob and Evie as the dual protagonists of this game, they would have had to have DNA from both of their family trees, which would be incredibly difficult to source both of their lineages down to the modern day, although I guess it's more modern compared to other games, so it might be easier.
Find their remains according to recent...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, never mind. Okay. I was thinking you have to trace both of their family trees, which would be a pain. Yeah. But, yeah,
although
never mind,
also with the Helix, which is like cloud-based, they... let you view your people's memories while also downloading apparently your genetic memories. So as long as somebody plugs in, you're good.
True.
And that's something that I thought is like, well, you have this modern tool that a certain character says, going to the Animus, it's so archaic. And I'm like, it's like, well, if you have the Helix, use it. It seems like they're limited in time of what the idea. Dig a little further into the concept of the helix. What powerful thing, we're just like scratching on the surface of this technology that's presenting us in this game that I feel like, I think that's what everybody is strifeful about, that, their anger is like, oh, this sucks. I wish we can do more. And I feel like, we can do more,
Thanks for coming on and joining us. Where can everyone find you?
All right. You can find me on Assassin's Creed Wiki. I have an account there. You can PM me there. I'm also on Reddit as well. You can PM me or touch base with me. I have Skype if people want to Skype me as well. So those are where you guys find.
Yep. Thanks for coming on. Great talk to you.
Thanks for coming on.
No problem.
This has been episode 34 of the Animus podcast. I'm Martin about that series. That's the Kraken Way. If you would like to be a guest on here, then you can contact us on Twitter, on the subreddit, at Animus Island podcast at gmail.com. Is that it? I think that's it.
Yeah. But
as we said, next week, tune in to hear all our very spoiler-filled thoughts on everything about how Jacob blows up that one orphanage, and all of that good stuff. But yeah, leave your feedback on this episode. We might be able to do some more of them in the future. Maybe one for like Jack the Ripper or something like that, which should be cool. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to say before we check out?
No, I think that's it.
No,
go play
happy
Syndicate. What are you doing listening to us?
Head over to Syndicate. We'll see you all next week for some very spoiler-filled funness. Can you say something?
No, never mind.
Okay.
Say, like, PM us your Halloween costumes. And then I was like, no, don't do that.
Don't.
And then I said it anyway.
Fuck. Okay. See everybody next week. Bye.
Bye.